Yeah, we move down the line here to the undercard of stuff that happened. Hijo del Fantasma won the Cruiserweight Championship. Oh, yeah, Drake Maverick earned a contract. This, is the culmination of a storyline that was maligned at the start, that, WWE was unjustly capitalizing on a real-life storyline with him being let go. I maintained then and now that it was the best possible thing that could have happened for Drake Maverick, even if he didn't get a contract, because it would only up his cachet and profile on the indie scene when those things do resume. However, I think the passion, the reaction, it worked out for him, and now he has re-earned another contract. I know people are still hating on WWE for this, but how is this not a feel-good story?
Yeah, I was going to say that ending of NXT was probably one of the best in recent memory. Just unfortunately, Drake Maverick losing. Phantasma wins the title. He's celebrating, but Drake Maverick is in the corner, kind of almost beginning to sob, looks at the camera and kind of thanks the WWE Universe for everything. We all assume, all right, that's it. He's done. Rolls out the ring, walks up the ramp. Sure enough, Triple H comes out from behind, shakes his hand, and in his other hand has a folder with the contract inside there, and they have him sign right on the spot. So it was, yeah, as you said, feel good Hollywood type of ending, cinematic type ending, where even though he didn't win the title, he still got his job.
It's like Rocky won.
Yeah,
he didn't win, but he won the hearts and minds of the people.
They both talk the same. Drake and Sly with their lip.
But I thought this was really awesome. Obviously, we're so thrilled for Drake Maverick to be sticking around with the company. Whatever his future in terms of his role with the company is, whether it's going to be more this renewed serious route or what have you, we're thrilled for him. And I think that to a little bit of a measure that this proves that WWE is not so rigid and does listen and sort of reacted to this. And it's like, they look to their benefit as well, but it was good business to retain Drake Maverick. So yeah. I think everybody wins here. I don't get the hate, really. Look, a guy gets to keep his job. Do you think he wouldn't want that contract? He threw a Hail Mary, and it paid off. Well, good for him.
Yeah, no, totally. I agree with you there. I've been kind of reading online just the various comments and people's reaction to the whole situation. Yeah, you want to celebrate this feel-good moment, but I guess at the same time, what's upsetting is, so I forgot who on Twitter said this, but apparently, okay, he had an opportunity to earn his job back, but how come none of the other people that were let go had a chance to earn their job back?
Because none of the other people connected and sort of articulated and put their message out there in the same way that Drake Maverick did. He had a perfect storm of an opportunity to where he released that video, happened to be in this Cruiserweight tournament. Whoever in creative that had his back, probably with this type of moment in mind, and it paid off for him. So it's just maybe he wanted it just a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We know Vince loves that, going back to ruthless aggression, people who go out there and fight for their job. But let me ask you this. Do you think if, as I said, people were complaining that, they didn't have a chance to get their job back. Do you think this was a work shoot, or do you think this was a work the whole time? There's a lot of people trying to speculate. And at the end of the day, who cares?
I don't think that this was a storyline from the start. I think legitimately that video that Drake Maverick put out there was so impassioned. It was so raw, so real, and he was so vulnerable and at the same time so grateful for having the opportunity to say goodbye that others weren't going to get, that as it went along, I think it made too much sense. It's the feel-good story. And so I think it was just good business. I don't think it was a work from the start or anything like that. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think that's what we're dealing with here. Again, he put his ass on the line out there. He stuck his neck out. He was very real and raw. And again, it was a Hail Mary, and somebody came down with it, and he's got a WWE contract now. So good for him.
Do you actually, I asked our buddy Mike Holler this the next day. Do you think he consummated his marriage finally that night?
No, still hasn't done that. He probably made love to the contract first.
Let me ask you this. Now, I know, listen, it's story, it's performance. Literally, they get the piece of paper right in front of you and they have to sign, like, right there on the spot. Like, I would love to know if,
It's
like,
like a
as a
30-day
joke
contract.
or something, like, there might be some details he didn't read because he was just in the moment signing it. But there's like, oh, yeah, you have to wash Triple H's car every week. Or, like, there's, like, all these little, like, bullet points.
Attitude Era, they would definitely do that. That is absolutely what they would do, because we'd have the feel-good moment, and then the next several weeks would just be humiliating Drake Maverick. That would be some Attitude Era stuff.
Triple H or William Regal would be like, hey, you signed this without reading it, you idiot.
Yeah. They would, he'd be like cleaning out the Godwin's hog pen and stuff like that. That would be what Drake Maverick would be doing. But and on the other side of that equation is Phantasma winning the Cruiserweight Championship tournament. Thrilled for him, again, as a huge fan of his work in Lucha Underground and beyond. I hope my fear is that, now that the dust has settled on another Cruiserweight Championship tournament, that my fear is that it once again falls into irrelevancy within the WWE landscape. Because, again, the Cruiserweight Classic was fun. Look, I love tournaments. This was a really fun tournament that had, honestly, a lot of contenders that could win it. I would not have picked Phantasma at the start, as much of a fan of his as I was. I thought it was Kushida's tournament to lose. And I just really thrilled with how it's turned out, and it's gotten, I feel like, being on NXT, a lot more eyes on it, and I just hope that they keep the ball rolling with it and make it a championship of note.
Well, and also, I think with Phantasma, like, as what we were speculating the last couple of weeks is we think he's probably the real leader of all those other masked men, luchadors who've been kidnapping people. So maybe this is actually going to lead to maybe a new faction or stable in NXT. So I'm curious how that's going to play out over the coming weeks. Maybe him as champion. So I like to think what you might be worried that the NXT title might be forgotten. Hopefully, with the mystery masked men, that could kind of play into it and still keep the title on, on top of mind for everyone to keep thinking about, and it's still very much present on each episode every week of NXT. So that's what I'm hoping for. But also keep in mind, Jordan Devlin, I think technically he's still also champion. So there could be a NXT champion versus NXT champion down the road. So I think whenever flights are able to resume around the world internationally, I'm sure Jordan Devlin can appear on an episode of NXT in the near future and be like, hey, I'm the real champion. I only lost it because of this damn pandemic, but I never got pinned. So I think there's still some legs there for two different storylines right there. So maybe the Masked Luchadors, that's first, and then down the road, Jordan Devlin can get involved somehow. I think with all that, they could totally still give it time to shine each week on TV. So now that the title is here in America and it can be shown regularly on TV, there's a lot of stuff they can still do with it.
Yeah, I hope you're right. And sort of quietly, the speculation is that Devlin has actually been stripped of the title because they're not using the term interim anymore with the Cruiserweight Championship. They're just referring to Phantasma as the Cruiserweight Champion. However, the built-in example that I will always use with issues like this in wrestling is Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels over the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 10. And so I think it's built-in feud. You have Devlin have his own championship, and you have Phantasma, and then they're going to fight over who's the real champion in that sense. So I think that is a built-in red-hot feud that you can have when this whole thing blows over, whether Phantasma's still the champion or whoever it might be. But yeah, I think it was a fun tournament. I love how it turned out. Some really just great moments. I keep going back to Kushida telling Drake Maverick to go out there and win the championship and win his job back. That just to me was just a really, really cool standout moment from this whole tournament. I loved that.
And also, it made some stars. I think Swerve, he's still going to be huge. I think also, Jake Atlas.
Absolutely.
He got some prime time to shine as well. So I think this tournament really helped create some new stars that for the next few months or so, they can really just be fun to watch on each week on the, quote, mid-card level right now of NXT.